Hello and welcome to Riga Photomonth Gallery. This is the place where Riga Photomonth takes place this year with the project Latvia via AI. What it means, we have a series of 31 exhibitions during the whole month of May. Each exhibition runs just for a single day, and those exhibitions are on a very different wide subjects, for instance, like Latvian culture, Latvian politics, Latvian science, Latvian fashion, Latvian art, literature, and so on. Today, for instance, we are in the exhibition Latvian leisure. And all those images are produced by 3 AI image generators, Stable Diffusion, DeepAI and Dall-E. Many people ask me, why did I choose those 3? Why not some other ones? Why there is no mid-journey? My answer is that I believe that those 3 resemble the aesthetics of documentary photography, which is kind of close to my own practice, the way I see the world. And of course, also, I could say that all this project is my solo exhibition or solo project, but I kind of also tend not to say that entirely and sort of share my responsibility with those AI image generators. And the reason for that is that I have used them not the way like most artists or photographers use them, that they either try to project their fantasy or they ask something very specific or they manipulate things. You know, I have given very simple and basic prompts. For instance, today in this exhibition we have mainly 3 prompts, which is Latvian leisure activities, or Latvians at pastime, or Latvians at free time, and nothing else. Or in other cases, you know, as it is Latvian men, Latvian politics, Latvian art, you know, and nothing more than that. Which then means that those AI image generators also have had some kind of creative freedom, that they had to come up with some idea how they see Latvia. So it's not entirely, you know, my own vision, I would say. Of course, I have selected the works, I have given prompts and created this context, but I tend to share responsibility with those AI image generators. And of course, it kind of questions the role of the artist and curator in the era of AI. The way AI image generators see Latvia, mainly there are two kind of directions. First one is that we kind of still live in a past. We still dress in a kind of folk costumes, sing and song, and this is how we daily are, which is something that, you know, they see culture related something to the past, to tradition. Or the other thing is that it's been projected as a post-Soviet shithole. And of course, we can say that reality is a bit more diverse, but we can also ask, you know, why it's like that. Is it really that those evil Americans who mainly have created those AI image generators have, you know, not given enough data to them, or they have had some prejudice or stereotypes about Latvia and Latvians, or we are also partly responsible for what kind of data we create about ourselves? And in case of us, like being like towards past or dressing up in folk costumes, you know, if you look at our cultural policy, if we go in the street and ask people what do they mean by kind of words Latvian culture, very often it's reduced to one song festival. So it's basically one event. Or our culture policy also it's mainly National Song Festival, or lots of amateur like dance and like singing collectives. Like visual arts is something relatively marginal in context of that. So at the end of the day, of course, we are also, you know, creating this kind of image. So it's not entirely, you know, at the end of the day, it's not entirely that far away from the truth. And about post-Soviet shithole, of course, we can say it's not that bad, and once again, reality is a bit different. But if you look at our economy, where we are, you know, if you look at our politics, you know, which is also very weird. If you look how much we invest in science, what happens with our education, also culture, besides like song festival and amateur collectives, you know, how much that is supported. we are in many statistics last in Europe, unfortunately, which then means, you know, does the image of Soviet shithole is really that far from reality or not? Here, lots of people, of course, ask, you know, why there are like many faces, why it's so kind of creepy. Of course, it's quite important to say that also this project documents the AI image generators in the early stages, and they, of course, are like children. But because of that, they are, of course, much more brutal and much more direct in how actually representing the world, how actually seeing that. You know, I used to have my own project, The Future Belongs to Future People, with documentary photography, where I also kind of form a statement about what is Latvia, what is our identity. But I would say that AI image generators are much more raw and direct and brutal and even more critical on that. They are, in a way, like children's drawings or children images, but as I like the saying that to the mouth of a child comes the truth. And at the end of the day, of course, we can say that despite the fact that it is, of course, construction, it is not even photography, it actually talks about the reality, about, you know, who we are, our, you know, our issues, our problems. And yes, 31 exhibitions is also an interesting aspect because, of course, it's an interesting practice for me. I come here every day, every morning. It's still a different exhibition. None is identical. So, despite the fact there are only 3 sizes and I'm quite limited, it's also interesting to see that, you know, there are so many options actually how you can work with photography, almost limitless. But the last thing, of course, it's not just about technology. It's not just about photography. It's about us, Latvians, and I believe that this project also could serve as a kind of way of looking at ourselves a little bit from a distance, critically evaluating ourselves, and maybe also it could bring, you know, some change. Last exhibition here will be the future of Latvia. There are also 3 ways of how AI sees that. Of course, first one is quite predictable. It's futuristic images of like space, like environment. Second one is children, which is again probably quite predictable. But in the case of Latvia, lots of children have red flags in their hands, which is again, of course, something to think about. But the last thing, it is that it projects some kind of apocalypse, some kind of the end of the world. And what could that mean? I asked ChatGPT as well what he thinks about the future of Latvia. And of course, considering all the facts that I mentioned, that, you know, we are in many cases last in Europe, and we are not investing in a major kind of, you know, in science, education, and culture, because this is about future, investing in those things, then there is no future in that case. Because in future, maybe thanks to AI, thanks to technology, maybe it will change the meaning of life in general. We might not need to work like this classical way of working towards the money. Maybe that will change, and of course it will mean that there should be other ways how, you know, what is the reason for life then. And if you look at the past, if you live in a history, if you are not investing in future, it is no surprise that AI image generator projects a sad future for us. So what it means that this project, Latvia via AI, it is also funny, it is also interesting, it is also something new, but at the end of the day, it also, I believe, I hope at least, that it will bring some self-understanding, some kind of critical evaluation of us, and hopefully something changes for better future.